Okay, this is our next little Photoshop design challenge that we have coming along here, and it is about creating wallpaper for mobile devices, phones, tablets, things like that. This is not really a lot different than some things we've done recently where you're designing in Photoshop, except for the dimensions, the size of the area that you're working with. Generally, you're working with a little smaller area, and that can make a difference. So on the handout that's posted on Google Classroom, I've got some line up things here for you. You gotta make this a size that will fit a mobile device, and I have some suggestions for you down here farther on the handout, which I'll show you here in a minute in Photoshop. Put a little thought into it. Use Photoshop things that you know, and I'll be happy with what you make. But let's see what you can make. All right, so the step-by-step is all kind of right here, and this is very creative, very open-ended. You can make wallpaper kind of look any way you want. It can be about anything you want. It could just be a cool-looking geometrical design. You've got a lot of choice. I'm going to hop over to Photoshop and just kind of go to work on demonstrating. Here's my idea I'm working with. I'm going on a Harry Potter kind of theme. And you see what I got there. So I'm going to do a very fast version of whipping this thing together. Let me move my Photoshop window down a little bit. That'll be a little better. Okay, here we go. So when you start, you're going to go Create New or File New. And here's the key. Up here at the top, click where it says Mobile. You already see a little handful of these are like kind of templates that are the right size for different devices. You can click View All Presets and you can scroll this, and there are several. There are a lot. I wouldn't do an icon size kind of thing. Some of these are marked icon, and we'll probably do some icon designing later, but for today that's not a good wallpaper size. But you could, if you wanted to do something for an Apple Watch, that's really small, but you could do it if you wanted to. There's some Android devices, there's iPads. I'm going to use this because I'm going to design. I have an iPhone 7 Plus, and so I'm going to go that route. Right? I'm going to click here. Now I'm going to select that iPhone 7 Plus. And I'm going to turn off the artboards. I think it's easier to do this work. It's just me. It's easier to do it without the artboards, but yeah, it's not the end of the world if you have the artboards turned on. I'm going to turn it off, click Create, and it gives me, see, the layout's just different. Most people are going to look at a they're going to look at a phone wallpaper oriented like this. So when you design, you kind of think in those terms, right? Excuse me. So I'm going to, let me look back at something real quick here. I'm going to start by, I've got some swatches over here, so I'm going to bring a swatch over and drop it in. And again, all that does, if you bring a swatch over and drop it on a document like that, it makes a color fill layer. You could get the paintbrush and just paint the background if you wanted to. I just bring a swatch over and drop it, and it fills the background. Okay, great. All right, the next thing I'm going to go ahead and add is some text. So I'm going to get my type tool. I'm going to click once here. And this is going to say expecto, and I'll click the check mark. Now we've got, oh, my mouse is messing around with me, so I'm going to switch to a tablet. Okay, so we've got, right now the text is that kind of burgundy or maroon color. This is Gryffindor colors, right, if you're a Harry Potter fan. So I'm just going to click on my swatch here for this gold, and now I'll do a Control-T. I had red text on a red background is what I had there, so that's why I was having that issue. And I'll click OK, and let me see, how did I design that? Yeah, okay, I know what I did there. Okay, yeah. All right, I may not do everything like the example that you saw first. Okay, now another type layer. Now let me show you something. I want to make another type layer. It's going to say Petroleum. I don't really want it to be the same type layer. But if I go get the Move tool and I hold down the Alt key on the keyboard and drag this, it makes a copy. And then I can come over here and just double click on that and make this say Petroleum. Now, if you don't want to do it that way, just make another type layer, right? Or if you can't do it that way, I can't get my Chromebook to do that, then just do a separate type layer, right? I mean, you can do two type layers. I'm going to size those just a little bit. All right, cool, good. All right, so I've got some text on there, and I'll play with that text some more maybe here in a minute. Now, another thing I found as I was working on doing this, not that one, I don't want to use that one. I found this. This is an internet search. I searched, I think, for Harry Potter scar. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what I did. Yep, look at that. Harry Potter scar. And I found this graphic. Okay, all right. And they, all the time they advertise, oh, it's got a transparent background. And then you find out it doesn't. Well, easy to solve in Photoshop though, right? Especially with this one. I could take that magic wand tool. Remember our magic wand tool, right? Magic wand. I'm going to click on the white. I'm going to shift click inside the lens of the glasses. Same thing over here. Shift click over here. And then I'm going to do select inverse. That's the trick. Remember the Mario day. Think back to Mario. That's what we did with Mario. Select the white, select inverse, off to the races. I'm going to copy this. I'll bring it over to my thing I'm making, paste it. I'm going to transform it some. I'm going to bring it up here. I'm not really going to change the size of it. I kind of like the way it's laying on the canvas. I'll just kind of bring it up a little bit. And I'm going to throw an outer glow on that. And I want the outer glow, and I'm pretty sure it already does. I want the outer glow to match that gold. All right, cool. Now, and I'm going to move my text down. I'm using the move tool. I'm going to move my text down just a little bit more because I want to show you one more thing, and then I'm going to bail. It's going to be your turn. There is in Photoshop, let me switch this back to what it's going to look like for you. Here on the, I might move this into the window just a little bit more. Here on the toolbar, there's a tool that just looks like a rectangle. It's the rectangle tool. If you press and hold, click and hold, you get different options. You've got rounded rectangles, ellipses, polygons, lines, and custom shape. I'm going to go to custom shape. When you go to custom shape, up here on the toolbar at the top, you've got a great variety of custom shapes. I don't know if you'll see everything that I'm seeing here because I play around with these every once in a while, so my list is kind of long. But if you go down far enough, if you scroll this custom shape menu down far enough, you'll have wild animals. Look at that. And there are several wild animals here. I am going to get this one right here because it's like Harry Potter's Patronus. It's a deer with horns, so it's a stag, right? So I'm going to click that. I'll select it. Now I'm also going to look right over here. It tells me here that this is going to be created as what's called a shape layer. It's going to automatically make a new layer with that shape on it when I drag it out. And it's going to be filled with this color right here. I could change that if I wanted to, but that pretty well suits what I want. I'm working with this like maroon and gold, burgundy and gold. So I'm going to fill it with that, and it's going to be this shape layer or a shape layer. So if I come down here and I drag that out, boom, like that. It's got a black stroke around it, and I might do a Control-T transform and just make that a little bit bigger and kind of move that around and all right. And that, again, it created what's called a shape layer. You'll see if you look on the layer panel, mine says Deer 1. Let me deselect that. So, see that? It's like Harry's Patronus. Now, if I click on that layer, I can do things like apply, my goodness, where did my effects panel go? I've pulled Photoshop down too far. Okay, there we go. I can go to the deer layer and say, well, maybe I want that deer to have like a bevel emboss or something like that. See, I'll throw a little bevel emboss on there, or a drop shadow. You know what? A drop shadow might look kind of cool. Let's throw a drop shadow on. I kind of like the drop shadow. Maybe an inner shadow too. What do you think? A little choke and distance on that inner shadow. Angle. Don't use global light. I don't want to use global light. All right, anyway, there we go. So I pretty quickly have pieced together, and I could certainly come back here to the type layers where it says Expecto Patronum, and I could throw on like an outer glow or something like that. I might change the color of that outer glow to be kind of a white. Nah, I don't like the way that looks at all. Yeah, I could. I mean, what I'm telling you is, I'll cancel that. I could throw on, maybe a drop shadow, right? You could throw some kind of effect onto the text if you wanted to. This is all about when you're happy and you know it. Right? You know our slogan in here. I'm just going to add that drop shadow. That's not terrible. Now, you would save that if you got this done. You would save it, and if you're connecting to our remote desktop, remember it's a good idea to do that whole connect to Google file stream, and that makes Drive G your Google Drive, and you would be able to go up here to the File menu and do a Save As. My goodness, I switched over to Edit. That's why I can't find it. Save As on your computer, and if you look for Drive G, Google Drive file stream, and then you can go and save it on your drive, on your Google Drive. I got a bunch of folders on my Google Drive. So you can save it there, and then if you think you really want to use this, it's like the wallpapers that we did yesterday. If you think you really want to use it as a wallpaper, you'd also have to go to File and go to Export, and you can export it as a PNG, or you can do Export As and do it as a JPEG, and then send it, like email it to yourself. You got to send it to your phone somehow, right? Maybe you have Google Drive on your phone, or maybe you can just email it to an email account that you can check on your phone, and then you can download it onto your phone, and you can actually use these as wallpaper on your phone if you wish. You don't have to do that for the assignment, obviously, but what I do want you to do is work on designing something that would be designed for some kind of mobile device. Okay, gosh, let's give it a shot, shall we?